everyone to the next edition of the Get Up and Go Show. This is Anne Marie of the Art of Healing, and today I have the very, very great pleasure of introducing Mr. Zach Gordon. Zach is an amazing young man, very spiritually in tune, yoga master, channel extraordinaire, and just an all-around interesting gentleman that I'm so looking forward to getting to know, and I hope you enjoy getting to know as well. So without further ado, I turned into Medea for a second. Let us welcome, please, Mr. Zachary Gordon. Welcome, Zach, to the Get Up and Go Show.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for doing this and bringing me into the circle. Great.
It's such a selfish pleasure, I have to say. I'm doing it completely for selfish reasons. But these selfish reasons are loving reasons because you are an amazing young man, if I may say. Please tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So, hi, my name's Zach. I often go by Sacbe in spiritual circles, which was a given name to me. And yeah, that question is a very loaded one. How do we answer who we are and about ourselves when we're all that is, right? But at a practical level, yeah, I'm a teacher by training. So I've taught high school, college, online.
I never knew that. That's fantastic. Guess what I do?
I know. Teachers often have this kind of vibey vibe, whether they know it or not. Yeah, so that's been my training, and like my spiritual pursuits have often been something I've kind of kept private. I lived as like a monk in home temples for much of my 20s. Been a student of the Course in Miracles for about 5 or 6 years now. Oh. And yoga has also been a big part of my life. My mom got me into it as a teenager, and I studied it and I've taught different modalities. And yeah, I'm sure there's so much more as well. Also a channel and reader, energy worker, and various other things. But I think at the heart of it, I'm just a happy person who wants to be happy and have depths of despair. So talking about what we do to keep ourselves in this elevated state is really kind of the only focus in my life, and everything else just kind of has to bounce off of that or align with it.
Yeah, I think that's so wonderful, and it's so great to hear somebody with the same kind of bubble that I have. We're bubbly, you know, like you and I both, and it shows in our faces, and it shows in the work that we do and the energies that we bring forth. So I'm so glad to meet you. It's just a big old love fest. We all having a big old love fest right now.
Thank God. Get in it, everyone, because we need this love fest. We need this energy. It's what sustains us.
Oh, seriously. I mean, it's serious. It's this is literally life-saving. Considering, I mean, in this 3D world that we're inhabiting, there's a lot of attack going on. Literally, figuratively. Tons of attack, very sad attacks, but we have to hold our own vibration. Do you not agree, my dear?
I 1,000% agree, and really, it is in that that analyzing attack, taking responsibility for how many attack thoughts we have, which is really about not trying to change the outer world, but getting to this loving place, and that's how we resolve it. Like, it's never through these attack thoughts that we resolve it, but they're so attacky and they're so everywhere that it's really a path of full concentration to navigate.
It's seriously, I love that. They're so attacky. That's so perfect. These thoughts are dang attacky.
Like, I woke up to attack thoughts today and I'm like, oh, come on. Okay, let's do what we got to do.
I know, it's so hard. I live in a home with my 2 sons and my mother, and I oftentimes have to go, okay, love you, bye. let me leave so that I do not remain in the attack thought mode. Ugh, it's tough, 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 tough. Now, I know that you also do like home gardening.
Yes.
You do. Talk to us a little bit about what you do there.
Sure. So, like a little context, my mom was quite a green thumb. She worked at nurseries. She was often like more ornamental. I didn't see a lot of food cultivation growing up, but I always had a hankering for it. Actually, when I started school, I started in an agriculture school and wanted to do like sustainable small scale farming in DC here. And then, bless their hearts, I had some people introduce me to what real farm life is like. And I'm like, oh, that has no flexibility. And I don't know that I want to be like that tied to the land. So
tough life, isn't it?
I have a lot of respect for farmers.
Yeah.
We all should. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I've always been after like, what's the highest yield I could grow in small spaces wherever I am. So I've also been traveling. This is the first time I think I realized in like 7 or 9 years I've been in one place this long during our like quarantine. But a lot of my focus has been on growing microgreens, which is you could grow tons of different crops and you only grow them to their first seedling or first flower or first leafing and then second leafing, and you harvest them. So in a 2-week time period, actually, hold on, let me get something.
Oh yeah, sure.
Here's an example. These are not quite ready to harvest, but these are broccoli. And so in about 14 days, I could get almost a pound. I have more than I could possibly eat, and I'll do several trays of these rotating. And this is absolutely the highest yield, freshest stuff you could get in a controlled environment. Now, I also am like growing corn on my balcony and peas and all sorts of other things, but it's tough to do. So I found that when I was traveling, this was really great. And these are really fun, and teaching people how to do microgreens has been a big passion for me because I think there's a big call for a lot of people to be more connected to their food. And
do you need to have the grow lights, or can they just be in a porch, or what do you?
They could just be in like a kitchen with a window or two. They'd probably grow in your room right there. They need very little because most of the energy is in the seed already, and it will naturally come up. So they need very little to grow. It's really remarkable.
That's so fascinating, because I have a space in my front porch that is completely enclosed, full on morning sun, beautiful area. I could get away with doing it.
Not only get away, they'd be very happy there.
They'd be very happy. Well, you have to make sure to give me that information, and we'll put a bunch of links underneath, okay, underneath the video, because I've been trying to do like gardening because of our mutual friend, Carol. You know, she's like the envy. Like she has like a whole garden. It's like no big deal, right?
She's got like farm style garden.
Yeah, she's got like farm style garden. So I'm trying to grow, and like I've not been having that great of a success. But I'm trying. I have some. So I have some. It's better than last year, which was 0.
That's the thing they don't tell us when they're like, yeah, just grow some of your own food. Like, it is an art. It is a science. It's a practice. And it's a constantly learning process. Like my last 2 batches of sunflower microgreens.
Working over there. It's either the wind or spirit. Something just fell. Okay, we got you. No problem.
Time to move on. Next question.
Next question. Okay, sweetheart. So talk to me a little bit about your daily practice. Now, I understand you're very, like, I'm a newbie to all of spirituality, really. I mean, I came from a Catholic tradition, and I've only been a ACIM practitioner in earnest maybe 2 years. So talk to me a little bit about what you do in your daily practice, because we all need to figure out something to center ourselves.
And ain't that true? And it's almost like the happier I become in life, the more energy I have to put into kind of sustaining it, and the contrast gets so strong.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to acknowledge and be completely transparent about is like, I have some deep moments of suffering, like all of us, right? So don't go thinking that just because we're smiling here, that that's always the case. It is serious, consistent. I don't want to say work, because that's almost the opposite, but I have had for a long time a morning yoga sadhana practice. At times it was, Kundalini yoga every morning before sunrise, and really intense. And I've kind of, now I try to do some sort of yoga, breathing, qigong exercise in the morning. I go out and I walk. There's a bird sanctuary nearby, so I get outdoors and into nature. And I also do some pretty intensive workouts, because I just notice that sometimes my body needs to be worked to exhaustion. And that's really important for me. Otherwise, and it resets the nervous system. So that is kind of like physical, the stuff I turn to and go to. At a deeper level, it's mind training. And that is unrelenting. It's unstopping. So I have a meditation practice that isn't really structured at the moment, but in general, meditate in the morning, meditate in the evening, meditate when I take a break at some point, tune in. But really, it's the underlying awareness of, am I being attacky right now?
Here comes the energy.
Am I being upset? And then trying to come up with a different frame of reference and take full accountability. Yeah, I don't know how specific I should get, but those are kind of the general practices. And another important part of my spiritual practice are friendships and relationships with other people who are in that vibration. So I have a best friend who I love. I've actually, like you, come across this community that we're kind of interlacing through, and it has fed and sustained my soul. And I talk to angels and higher beings throughout the day, and I've noticed that they're really true friends, because I can't always rely on a physical being. It's too taxing. And these higher beings and our higher selves have such a capacity for me to hang out with them all the time and constantly ask for help. And so I'm really grateful for all those things. And all that said, like it's still a daily necessity to get in and practice. And I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube that's uplifting. So I find that I need to feed myself throughout the day, just hearing positive things, listening to an audio book, watching a channeling. I'm a big fan of this guy, Ken Wapnick. He's one of the Course in Miracles teachers from back in the day. It wasn't that long ago, but one of the early ones, and really on point. And I'm also working on developing a love relationship that is in line with this, which is new for me, and bringing up a lot of stuff on how do you interact in this way. So those are kind of and music. I'm a big musician. There's instruments.
Oh, cool.
And I noticed that singing for me and playing music is a way for the spirit to come in, fill me up with happiness. Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Yeah, I also had a great battle with depression, with anxiety, for years. I mean, having, well, it was a long road. I actually witnessed the 9/11 buildings in New York City. I was there. I was working in New York City at the time, and I was looking out the window, and I saw a plane go in, and boom. So after that particular experience, whatever emotional ledge that I had always teetered on, I was flung completely off.
Disintegrated, huh?
Oh, it was just like, they ain't no coming back from that, bitch, y'all. It's just like, you ain't gonna come back from that.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So I had to do the whole medication route. It was like, yeah. So, but it wasn't until I started this path of the Course in Miracles, and of course listening to Tina Spalding and her teachings. Huh?
Big fan. Hi, Tina.
Oh yeah, she's come up many times in my conversations with people on this show. So the truth is, though, we can get out of it. We can. We can get out of it. I have stopped taking all anti-anxiety, all heart medicines, because I developed a heart palpitation on top of it, and I wasn't even 50 yet. And I was like, why am I taking heart medication at 50? That's insane. So it is. I mean, we all have our walks, but it's totally doable, right?
It's totally doable, but not alone.
Not
And not when we're closed down. So we need to crack that light in, because we can't do it alone. If we did, we would be, I don't know, this is a family friendly show. So the phrase that comes to mind, I won't say, but you know what I mean.
I understand.
Although sometimes we do. It does feel like we're alone.
Mm-hmm.
But that aloneness is because we're cut off from who we are, our fullness, right? So we gotta,
yeah. I mean, that's all right, but think of the joy. I mean, I have never thought I was going to start channeling. I didn't even know what light language was. I didn't know what the heck anything was about. And then all of a sudden I start spewing this stuff. And to me, it was just like, I was gobsmacked. I'm like, check this shit out, and it was just like so amazing. But that's the friendship. That's the connection we can achieve here, right? I mean, that's what we have. And you have a very special connection too with a beautiful being that lights my fire all the time. He's my friend. They my friend. I love that. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm like accenting today. Don't ask me why.
Hey, let's just go with it, right? We got to stay open to what feels good.
It's just so much fun, I actually, why don't you tell us about this part of your life and this spiritual, it's a ministry, right? I mean, it's a spiritual ministry that you've taken on. So
I really wish that the word ministry did not have the connotation it does today, because the heart of that, the way I feel about what ministry is, which is being full of light and just walking, is really where it's at.
We have to reclaim these words, though. We have to reclaim them for what they really are, because they are. It is in essence everything that we choose to do when we're spiritual. We are in a ministry. We minister to people. We are in service to others. That's. I reclaim it. I reclaimed it.
So I channel primarily a group that refers to themselves, or gave me the name of Shotal, which is a Mayan word that I think literally means to bow, but it like the essence of it is reverence. And so that might throw off our recording, because our fire alarm is going off.
All right.
Well, that was funny. It was good. I got a chance to do a little Kundalini yoga and some breathing outside. So feeling better.
I have to say that I think that was one of these attempts to distract and bring us down in our vibration. I am like a kind of like a conspiracy theorist or whatever. And I always think about these things as was this something that maybe forces did not want us to continue what we're doing? It was an attempt in some way to dismantle the energy, the love, the high vibe, because when we gather in these ways, we create ridiculous light. And you live in a very
belly of the beast,
in an area where there is a lot of struggle. It's just, it's the truth. I mean, that's what's going on. So in my mind, I'm like, they ain't gonna stop us. No way, no how. No big deal. My son, I just went downstairs, and my son, who's 24, he's like, don't know who this guy is, but what if he was like, God, blah, 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 you know, like start cursing, like, God, they're trying to do something good here. Ah! And I was like, well, the whole point, my dear, is that we don't do that, and we bend and flow, and we just let things go, and we keep on our merry way and keep on our path. So
I'll tell you though, this is a good point, because the conspiracy theory mindset, which is something I've always been very aware of, because I'm seeing right past what they're setting down, is that it's a victim mentality. And like, we got to be really accountable that like, we're aware of all of it. But I love what you said of like, the thought is not like thereafter, it's like, I can't be stopped, you know, and we reclaim it for ourselves. And yeah.
Amen. Let us hallelujah that one.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Let us get an amen. So what, I don't know if this is going to be part of the show or not.
I think we should just include the comeback. It was good. It was kind of perfect. Yeah.
There's a part of me that is one of these beautiful 250-pound Black women. And I had it when I was a young teacher. There was I work in a district with it has a lot of African American people, and she was a kindergarten teaching assistant. Her name was Ms. Bird, and she was just one of these large, bold, beautiful women that just didn't let nothing fluster her. And sometimes I channel that energy because it's just such a great energy. Like, I know who I am. I don't care about you. You know, it's just kind of like, we all going to do this, okay? We're going to get through this. I love that. I just love it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add that like the racial inequality in our times have been horrific and are still present. And there is so much that we can learn from a lot of folks in a lot of different places. But in the US, like the African-American experience has been so difficult and repressive. And the spirituality that for many and some have found, and even just the strength that is required to live in, is really something that we should probably all channel a little bit. And I've had similar experiences in school systems and dear friends and teachers and guides. So I feel like that.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't carry that in me. Yeah, I hope I don't carry that in me. I don't think I carry that in me. Because I just love people. I just do. I don't care. Like, I just do. So,
yeah, I think we probably, and we'll shift the topic, but something I'd love to say on this is that we all carry such unconscious programming just by being born into where we are. And this path is about uncovering that, bringing it to awareness, going, oh, I didn't realize, you know, like I have this and that I wasn't seeing. And the more we're open, the more it'll be shown, you know, if we invite it in, and we're constantly, this is why we can't be guilty about our path, and we can't project onto others, because I had a teacher in the temple who would often say, it's at the sacrifice of many that a saint is born, meaning that like, for someone to get that far along a spiritual path, you often hurt, and a lot of innocent people get affected along the way for you to perfect yourself or realize your own perfection, right? So,
well, absolutely. And it's not just in this incarnation. I mean, in order for us to get to where we are in our level of awakening, and why we incarnated at this particular time, we had to have been the aggressor, and we had to have been the victim many times over, to varying degrees. Yes, we have always been this. We have always been the. We have also been, I should say, the medicine people or the healers. We've been the saints, but we've also been the sinners, and we have to understand that probably in this incarnation, we have to amalgamate all those experiences, forgive them all, gain all the lessons from them.
Yeah.
And we are flowers that are birthing. We are flowers that are opening right now.
Put that
Right
so well.
now. You know? Well, thank you. Ah! Okay. So, sweetheart, let's ride this wave. What do you want to do?
Well, before we left, you were asking about the channeling stuff, and
Yeah.
something that kind of came to me. I'll give some context, but I like to approach this topic from a place that is approachable to everyone, because I think something that happens sometimes is you hear like, oh, they're a channel, like that doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
And so what I want to point out is that thought is a frequency. And when you're at certain levels of frequency, you're going to have certain thoughts. And y'all, your thoughts are not all your own. You have many different voices in your head, and anybody knows that, right? And so the channeling, I think, because of my openness, like at different times in my life, I've definitely gotten streams of consciousness. And that's how I describe it. Like you had shared like the idea about this, it just kind of boop, 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 came.
Yeah.
And we could have one frame of mind that is like, oh, that was just inspiration, right? Like any artist, any musician knows about muse. Mm-hmm. So many people are like, I can't take credit. It just came to me. Right. Well, where did it come from?
Yeah.
And there is a science of mind, like maybe you call it yoga, maybe you'd call it new age, whatever, that that has some explanations for this. And so there were a couple factors hanging out at Tina Spalding's events where there was some live channeling, like cracked me open like a shell. And I remembered so many things throughout my life, dreams, awarenesses, streams of consciousness, that I was able to remember because I had repressed it so much. Because in normal society, like especially teaching, there's a lot of things that I've kept private because of how it would affect my public life. And that's a shift I'm going through now, of how to be more integrated, and society shifting, and I can't keep faking it. I got to be real.
I'm with you on that one.
But there is a particular group that I think has been with me throughout my life, and I put a lot of practice into stepping out of the way, letting it come through, and cultivating that. And so now it comes pretty fluidly, but I remember sometimes it was definitely not always the case. Oftentimes it was just a personal message that kind of came to me to explain some things. And so shifting that relationship and opening it up, it's been really powerful. And sometimes like Archangel Michael will come through, or there's sometimes other groups, but often it's this group Shotal, which is a collection of groups of beings. Which is apparently how a lot of them like to operate. They like community too, and they're in the mind, so they could join in these collective minds. Yeah. Which I've been shown that part of the problem to stay happy is that a small self is very limited in its capacity for happiness. And if we share with others, we're actually increasing our capacity to maintain it, right? Like you might be up one day, I might be down one day, the back and forth, and like then you keep that flowing and flowing. So that's really important. I think.
Yeah, we all lift each other up when we need to,
Amen. Yeah.
That's so important. So, I had an experience. You said Shotal comes from where? Where does that word come from?
Oh, it is a Mayan word.
It's a Mayan word.
And I didn't know it. I was in a hot springs because for a long time they wouldn't tell me who they were, and I was really wanting to know, but I also knew it wasn't the main important thing. And I was in this deep state of relaxation, and I just started saying this word over and over again. And I had to go look it up later online, and there's very few references to it on the internet. There's like 2 books I could find that talked about it briefly. And so that was really cool because I have a deep affinity with the land in Mexico and the Yucatan, and the Mayans have been a study for me for a long time. I've felt drawn to them. And the name Sacbe comes from that region.
The Sacbe comes from that region?
Yeah, that's also a Mayan word. It means the white path. And it represented the white stone that they travel along, like the long trade routes. But it also represented the Milky Way. And it represented when the shaman would send up the smoke. That trail of smoke was called Sacbe with the prayers. And
I'm getting a really huge flow of energy coming out. I'm going to just check something because I have a connection with that as well. And I just want to make sure that I say it properly. I was in my friend's metaphysical shop, and she has a room with just goddesses. And there was this goddess there. Her name starts with an X as well. And I want to find it, but I don't want to take time and find it right now. When I saw her statue, I immediately began to cry. Tears just welled up. Something happened, and you just mentioned that, and I'm getting like everything. My upper chakras are all alit right now. I am full on, in that phase of like, I can't like do much.
I know that feeling.
Thanks a lot, Zach. Thanks a lot. I think this is a good time for some teaching, right?
Ooh, yeah.
I think it's a good time for you to bring Shotal through.
Should we bring him through and
I would love to know what this is about. I would love to know what this is about. This is great.
Okay. It's pretty quick, so they're going to come in and just to give some context, their message is very clearly like inspiration to kind of boost us along so that we could do our work. I can feel it. I'm just going to step out of the way. Greetings, dear ones. We are here with you, and we say it is with great joy indeed. You see these fields of minds that you cultivate when you come together with this caring in this way, and we say all of you, for you see, those of you watching now and those of you too recording now are out of time and connected. You see this joyous, beautiful state, this frequency that you call is outside of time and space. That is how you can tie into it at any time and space, you see? So when we enter in this, what you are experiencing now, dear one, and the description you describe of this flowing in of just love and overwhelmingness and vague remembering, you see, yes, this is because there are frequencies, and many of your past life, future life, we do not say future life, we say past life, but point out that life is not linear in the way you experience it, you see? So those heightened experiences that you have tapped into in the past do exist outside of time and space as you know it, you see? This is why they are ever present. This is why they are ever loving. You see, this dear one, we will share an experience. He remembers when he was younger, we say early 20s, and he was talking with his mom, and he said, "Mom, I'm afraid that to grow further, I need to become unhinged. I need to unhinge my mind." And he literally saw it as a hinge in a trap door, and he had to go up to abstract thought and begin living in a world of abstract thought. And he told his mother, "Mom, this is crazy. I will not be able to come back from this. There is no way, and I'm going to be in such a different place." Now, he did not understand that it would be a gentle, loving, sweet place, and he would still have a body and form. And his dear, beautiful mother really had no idea what he was talking about, but she loved him and had concern for him. So we say, dear ones, we love you. You see, these experiences, these connections, keep pouring yourself into them. We do not mean with effort. We mean open your hearts and let it flow. You see, we come at these times to bring a message of encouragement, but this message is not words. This message we deliver with energy itself. We share with you the thought vibration so that as you accept and acclimate to it, then your experience and your frequency and your reality changes. Yes? We will pause and see if there are any question answers that would be enjoyable to address at this time.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Shotal. Thank you for everything. I feel so connected with you.
Yes, dear one, and us with you as well. We love you.
Thank you. Love you too. Um, what more can we do for ourselves to bring forth this new earth that we are birthing?
Yes, dear one, we say this is the perfect question to ask, and we love your phrasing, for we do not have to unpack it. We say it is simple, simply put down the old earth. You see, the new earth is not something you have to pick up and create. You are living on a conscious being who is steps ahead of you. So really, what you have to do is let go of everything that you showed up to new earth with, your weapons, your hatred, your fear, your projections, and you're carrying them around. And they are clunky old metal. We are showing him like someone carrying a bunch of old broken toasters, yes? And you are showing up to a beautiful campfire of gods and goddesses with an armful of toasters going, how can I contribute? And they're saying, dear God, put down the broken toasters. Maybe we can make something of them later and just come sit here. Let the warmth of the campfire into your heart. Let the beings around you fill you with love and with light and just be merry, dear ones. Yes?
How beautiful, Shotal. Thank you. Thank you
We will step out now, although we are with you always, we say. We are with you and we love you. And we will step back now so that it is important for you to, as a human being experience, to not become too dependent, you see, on anything other than your own inner being. Yes, so we will give you space now, but we are grateful and joyful to contribute to this conversation. We love you and we greet you with the love and the light and the joy of the Creator, Adonai.
Adonai. Yesu hatua yeterikia mara etuchuya sa Hawaii terakamada tia ruata mahotetia karahata shukuture isa shumatri ayata turka marketia usu shuhutumari yata soshuya wasu makaya watia sukaru ayuma nia mahayua kahaya soshuya tarua puta shutasu maderia caro mara aya sashuhatia que maya meu masaye esco chamaya ha sumane ya ashukotoya ashu sa kaya sumaye mahom baby.
How we doing, y'all?
Ooh, baby. I tell you what. Man, oh man, oh man. Wasn't it the monk that said, why do you need sex when you can come all the time? Tell you what, man.
Oh, good God, and while we're on the topic of sex, which is a great one, it affects us all. We all think about it. We're all connected. We are definitely all evolving to bring to our sexual self a higher vibration, a more loving vibration, a less just kind of rub it and get off, which is kind of how we approach life, right? Like, I'll just kind of get by, right? And bringing love into that, bringing fullness in. Ooh, you're right.
It's amazing, but there's on that topic, because that's something that is the growth and the transition between our programmed nature versus our true nature. And if you notice how our programmed nature is shame, baseless, get her done kind of culture, tap that kind of culture, that is the programming that we all struggle with, that we all have to struggle with. And yes, it is a divine experience. It is a divine unity, a melding of all chakras, a melding and a connection between earth and sky, between mother and father, between human and divine. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful part of our humanity that we need to also, one of these things that we need to reclaim. So I figured out the goddess.
Ooh.
Her name is Ixchel. Her name is the goddess Ixchel.
How do you spell that?
That's-
IX?
I think it's Ixchel.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh,
Ixchel.
yeah.
Mayan. Yep.
Wife of
Maya
the
goddess.
sun god. Okay. Ah. Shell.
So Ixchel. Goddess of the moon, of love, of gestation, of medicine, of textile arts. The wife of the sun god, Akhkeen, and was often represented accompanied by a rabbit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm looking at some of the artwork of her, like modern day artwork is really beautiful.
So goddess of the moon. Anyway, so that's my Mayan connection right there. And I was told I had a past life as a medicine woman. So makes complete sense to me.
You know, that reincarnation for me, I don't know where everybody in the audience is. I'm sure they're pretty open-minded, but I felt like as a child, I realized, oh, it's actually probably the most logical explanation for how people are so vastly different and so opinionated from the start. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've never met a blank slated baby.
No, trust me, I had 2 of them. They all had their stuff coming right in.
Oh yeah, it's immediate.
Oh. Yeah, it's very immediate. So talk to me about your beverage and your mug. Oh, what a beautiful mug you have.
Cheers. So, okay, this is my favorite mug at the moment. This was from Tina Spalding retreat in Salt Spring Island. It was a Channeling Jesus event, and it's A and J, Ananda and Jesus, and it's also 2 faces, and it's got my name in the back. And
she made those for you. We got pins when I went. I got a pin.
So I'm really happy everybody got a mug so that they could do that. And it just it kind of keeps me light and bright and reminds me of that vibe. Now, personally, I do like big fat mugs, bigger ones. So I have some bigger ones that are a bit, but they're not as favorite for me.
Oh.
Although I will say that, well, okay, I'm drinking a yogi tea called Throat Coat.
Oh yeah.
Like singing a lot and things or different things will disrupt it. So that's one of my favorite go-to teas with a little honey.
Slippery elm, right? It has slippery elm in it.
It probably does. I don't know the full ingredient list.
Throat Coat. I've heard of that for a long time. I'm a vocalist also. I've been a soprano. I've been a professional soprano.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know all about that feeling.
Yeah, so I am very unprofessional, so when I sing, it's just pure heart coming through, and those vocal cords do get a little wrecked, although I'm learning now to, like, there's a
incorporate your breathing. Well, all right, sweetheart, it has been quite an experience. What a beautiful, beautiful time with you. You are a dear, dear being to me. Thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you for putting yourself out there as the true being that you are.
You're you. And right back at you. Thank you so much. I feel such love between us that, you know, is definitely a good connection and probably lifetimes long. And I want to thank you for doing this. This lifted me today. So, you know, remember folks that these ideas that you have, you're going to bring other people up with them. And I just really want to thank you for your service and everybody who's supporting you and coming together. And if you are watching this and you got a vibe with this vibe, like reach out, because I want more of that vibe in my life too. So hopefully we'll all just keep continuing to connect and grow deeper together and lighter.
Where can people find you?
That's a tricky one because I'm very visible on the internet, but not with this stuff. So I think a good way to go would just be to go to the Shotal website, which will get some links and descriptions. It's spelled with an X. It's not like SHOWTAL, Shotal. Yeah, that would be a good starting point, and it's got a contact form for more. And I'm
that's
still kind of working, like I said, to build like a public persona that matches the rest of me. And that's a transition process I'm in.
fine. All right, everyone. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for supporting and being who you are and taking the opportunity to get up and go.
Yeah.
Bam, bam.